South Africa have managed to defend 297 to win the first ODI against India at Boland Park. It's one of three ODIs. The second one will be at Boland Park, and the final one will be at Newlands. And I'm sitting here, I'm quite happy actually about this performance. I think South Africa played really well, particularly Temba Bavuma and Rassie van der Dussen performed excellently with the bat. And the bowlers, yeah, there were some parts in the game where the game kind of got away from them, but towards the end, they actually did do well to take wickets at the correct times so that they can get themselves into a winning position and ultimately hold out for the win. And that was the main thing. It got to a stage where South Africa were where India were 8 down in there to either take the 2 wickets or just see out the overs. And South Africa managed to hold out and see India off. And there were some great performances in the India camp as well. We can't deny that. Of course, there was. India is a very, very good team. And South Africa really came to the party, I feel, because it was a game that a lot of people were confused about with regards to what they were going to face. There was a lot of different things and a lot of different opinions from fans across the country that were commenting on various information that we were putting out there, whether it be team sheets, whether it be the actual halftime report or innings report that we put out there. There were a lot of different things spoken about and said. But ultimately, South Africa got the win, and that was the most important thing from a South African fan base perspective. We're going to be diving into this. I'll be diving into this. We're not 100% sure who will be calling in on the show, but we will. If we have a panel, we'll have that. Otherwise, it's just myself and you guys. You guys can also call in on the show if you want to have a discussion with me. The fan call in link is in the live chat pinned to the top, so you can go ahead and click on that if you want to come on the show and have your say. I will be putting it, if you ask me again, I will be putting it in the live chat again later on if you guys want that too. But without further ado, guys, don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Don't forget to click that notification bell for all future videos. That's how you stay up to date with everything that we do on this particular channel. Don't forget to subscribe to Cricket Fanatics Magazine monthly. The link is in the description. Every issue 100% free, straight to your inbox every single month. We are busy working hard on the next issue. It will be live tomorrow. So we are really working hard to get that to you guys. It's been difficult in the midst of so much cricket happening as well. And smash the like button, comment, and share with everybody as well. Do all of those things. We need you guys to do that too. So without further ado, let's get straight into today's content. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Cricket Fanatics Magazine. This is your review show. I'm your host, Khalid. I'm here with Verna, I'm here with Tsepo, and today we're going to be discussing South Africa's victory against India in the first ODI at Boland Park. Now, I'm going to set up the scene first and foremost before Verna and Tsepo obviously climb in and give their thoughts. There was a lot of discussion first and foremost about the lineup. Now, we had you guys obviously vote for an 11 that had no Rassie van der Dussen, and then Rassie van der Dussen, we were all shocked by that. But Rassie van der Dussen comes out here and scores an exceptional century. Temba Bavuma coming to the party, scoring a century as well. But I still saw on our reports at the innings at the innings break, I put the report up, of course, on our Facebook page, etc., and shared it also obviously to Twitter, but particularly on Facebook. There were guys saying to Bavuma's too slow. Bavuma, what is he doing? Yes, he scored 100, but that's too slow. Not enough runs on the board. And I'm like, why is this man still getting criticized after a performance like what he put on? And there was misconceptions about the pitch. Now, I know we're playing in South Africa, but it doesn't mean that every single pitch in South Africa is exactly the same. We need to know that as a fan base, and just so I can give a little bit of education to the guys. Maybe not the guys that are on here, because I know a lot of you guys would have known about that. But what's happening is the pitch in Boland Park, and what I've noticed in the past from watching quite a few games there, the pitch is slow, it's dry, it's hot. So they don't necessarily have maybe this exactly the same facilities or the exactly the same equipment to be able to make sure that the pitch can be at the standard of maybe Centurion Wanderers Newlands. It's a lot harder for them to create a pitch that is lively, especially in that heat, because it's constantly baking in Paul. You can put an extra 10, 20 degrees Celsius normally on, and that's what Paul is normally. So it's extremely dry, extremely hot. You can ask Chepo, he was there. So like it's extremely hot there in Paul, and we knew that it was going to be two. It's going to be two spinners that is going to be needed in this particular lineup, and Werner picked it from the start. In his 11 in the preview, there were some people saying, but why are we having two spinners, etc. And I think that they also thought about Markram's selection was also maybe with a little bit of spin in mind. Now, a lot of us sat back watching the game thinking, what is Temba Bavuma doing? Why is he opening the bowling with someone like Aiden Markram? It paid off, luckily, for the captain, but I still wouldn't go with that type of approach. I think if it was maybe Bjorn Fortuin in the side, I would have maybe had a different story altogether if he was the spinner opening the bowling. We've seen, yes, Aiden Markham do it in T20 cricket, but it seems like they're trying to trust him in that role as well in the ODI format. But let's get into that, because I was ready to criticize Bavuma with regards to the captaincy only, because he put on an amazing performance with the bat. Now, yes, I understand when you look at the score and you look at his strike rate that it looks like he was batting quite slow, 110 of 143, delivery 76.92 his strike rate. But remember that a lot of those balls were wasted up top when he was when he was losing people around him, maybe. And obviously, the two wickets that fell up top, that made things hard for Temba as well. And he needed someone to stick in with him because it was a difficult period in the morning. The way India were bowling, moving the ball away ever so slightly, made it hard for particularly Quinton de Kock and Yanaman Malan to find the boundary. Now, yes, I don't agree with playing away from your body the way Yanaman did to go out. I don't agree with maybe Quinton de Kock being stuck in his crease and not maybe losing his concentration. But we sure Shikhar Dhawan fall for a similar type of delivery as well. So it is something that is maybe stuck. Maybe it's the heat. I don't know what it is, but ultimately it was an excellent performance from Temba Bavuma and Rassie van der Dussen that we have to give credit to them, because that was excellent performance from them. Other standout performers, you saw Tabrei Shamsi take a while to get into his rhythm before he took his wickets. Andile Pechelquayo did okay in his role. Lungin did okay. Keshav Maharaj did well in his role towards, especially his second spell. And yeah, it looked like Temba did this bowled Keshav actually through it. You couldn't really, I wouldn't really call it spells really, because he just basically bowled Keshav through almost the entire time. So I think it was well managed towards the end. Maybe it did look at the point in time that it would run away from us, especially with Virat Kohli and Shikhar Dhawan at the crease. It looked like South Africa might have put too little on the board at some point. But those two wickets were key, and it changed the whole game. But that's just my assumption. That's my assumption of what you guys will think, or what I think the opinion would be across the board. But let's get your views. I want to hear what you have to say, Werner. I want to hear what you have to say, Tsepo. We will open the lines up after the two guys on the panel have spoken.
Yeah, always great to start off with a win. Any series you want to start off with a win, especially if it's only a 3-match series, it already puts you on the front foot. I thought brilliant work from both Temba and Rassie to get us to 296. It looked a mile off when we were 68 for 3. We were 80 for 3 after 20 overs. So we all thought, hopefully they can scratch to about 240 and we can see what we can do on a slow pitch. But no, they managed to get almost 300. I think a lot of that has to do with the intent Rassie came with to the crease today. From ball one, he looked to put the pressure back on the bowlers. He reverse swept. I think I talked about this through the day, that how much the under 19s could learn from just watching the innings today, from how Rassie and Temba approached it. especially against spinners. They used all the sweep shots, reverse sweep, lap sweep, bar sweep, everything you want, and they pushed it into the gaps. They got the singles when they needed it. They continually put pressure back on the bowlers. They didn't just let Chow and Ashwin bowl at them, and that's very crucial, especially in the limited overs format. You can't just sit there and wait for the spinners to bog you down, because then you're not going to get anywhere. So I love the intensity Rassi came out with. I love the way Bavuma batted as well. I think they both batted exceptionally well. They parted each other so well. 204 runs. I mean, not really much more you can ask for. I know people say Temo was slow, but you have to look at the partnership as a whole. They complemented each other so well, and I really enjoyed it. And I thought with the ball, yeah, it was all right. We got there in the end, and we got the wickets we needed, but I wouldn't say it was convincing. I don't think we ever really troubled their batsmen. We got a few lucky wickets, and we did well at the back end. But I thought, when, as you said, when Kohli and Dhawan were so there, it was looking pretty easy. But then it was a great ball from Maharaj to give us that bit of an opening. And then when Kohli got out, then we started to put on some pressure on their batsmen. So yeah, I enjoyed that, and I thought, I guess I'd probably quickly touch on the Aiden Markram subject just for a moment, not to start an argument. But I do think that him coming in at number 4, it just doesn't sit right for me, pushing Rassi down to 5 and Miller at 6. We have seen how well Rassi and Temba bat together, and Temba coming in at 3 and Rassi at 4 just makes sense. And Miller coming lower than 5 is really a waste, because we know if he faces 15 overs, the destruction that lays at the back end of the innings. So it just doesn't seem right to me, and especially on wickets like this, that's slower, but it doesn't have a lot in for the bowlers. I feel like I'd rather play somebody like Pretorius, who can come in at the back end at 6 and maybe hit a few lasty blows, and then can bowl wicket to wicket on this sort of pitch. This is the ideal pitch for somebody like Dwayne Pretorius. And obviously he played here for the Paul Rocks in the Mzansi Super League. So I thought this is the perfect opportunity to bring him, bat him at 6. He is good enough to hold his own at 6, I believe. And because your top 5 should be doing most of the work on a pitch like this, you shouldn't be relying on much down below that, and you will have Pretorius and Pechluquayo and Janssen who can contribute some runs down the lower order. So that's probably the way I would go for the next game personally. But it seems like Bavuma enjoys using the spin of Markram, so I don't think they will go that way, but that's just my view.
Seppo, let's get your view, because I mean you are obviously in commentary as well, and I want to hear what you have to say and what you picked up during this match, because there is quite a few things that I'd like to bring up. For particularly, maybe I personally feel that it's maybe, like, I'm not going to argue with this one, Werner, because I believe that in Test cricket we shouldn't drop Markram, but I think in ODIs, for me personally, I think it's a shootout between him and Janneman Malan for that opening position. I don't think that that Aiden should bat lower down in ODIs. I believe that Aiden's ODI game should be similar to his Test game. In fact, I think that there needs to be similarity between the two, and then in T20 cricket, he can go as free and bonkers as he wants to be, batting down the order and smacking the ball around. So personally, I understand your viewpoint, and I think that would have looked more likely to something to do is to bring another all-rounder and have an extra bowler that can bowl wicket to wicket. But Seppo, what's your thoughts on this? I would like to hear your thoughts and overview of the game, and then Abai, you can go straight after, and then we'll open up the lines.
Hello, Khalid. Good to be here. Yeah, you know what? We did know from the get-go that it was going to be a slow pitch. Conversations about how, yeah, the likes of Sean van den Berg has been doing very well for the Paul Rocks. We expected 2 spinners, so yeah, good on you, Werner, for predicting that and it coming true. Even a 3rd spinner for South Africa with Aiden Markram opening up the bowling. But one thing that was very apparent at the beginning of the innings was how slow the pitch was, how difficult it was to score boundaries. I mean, what was like 3 boundaries in like the first 25 overs, and boundaries are very hard to come by. So the type of runs that you'd be getting, or the bulk of the runs that you'd be getting, would probably be with singles rotating the strike very nicely. And that is how you would not only get runs, but you'd put pressure on the fielding team. A very hot day as well. And you could see towards the end as well how the Indians' concentration sort of, there was lapses there. There were like overthrows that when Rassie and Temba were batting, overthrows that went for 4. And you could see that how the batters also put pressure on the fielding team was how they ran between the wickets, taking those quick runs for those shies at the stumps, got things sort of half and half. And if you had a lapse in concentration, that's where you would probably fall, and that's how Temba Bavuma and Rassie van der Dussen got so many runs. They literally just like killed the Indian like bowling lineup. The whole field was dead, even though there weren't a lot of boundaries except like from free hits and all that jazz. Rassie van der Dussen in a league of his own. I don't know why people want to drop him. He just keeps scoring runs, Oaks. Like this guy, like 40, 41, keeps contributing to the score. So I don't understand why people want to drop him. But Werner brought up an interesting point about Aiden Markham. He's going to be a very interesting point of the conversation because of what he offers now with the ball. You could see that South Africa are trying to make him offer a little bit more, and I think that's what we need. We need to start getting not just a team of 11 players, but like a team of 22 players or something. That's not the number. I think the number is like about 17. If you can get 17 players into your 11, then you're doing well. I remember chatting to one of the selectors about that, and he mentioned that in passing. And that's what they're trying to make with Aiden Markram. And he's doing relatively well here on a pitch that didn't really offer too much to the bowlers. There wasn't too much movement at the beginning during the power plays. Wickets were very hard to come by. You had to fight for your wickets. It felt like a test match in that, like where you'd have to sort of survive. It wasn't just boom, 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 hit sixes. Wow, let's get some limited overs cricket here, which was a very interesting watch. And the game can sort of get away from you in these types of periods. So the South Africans did very well with the bats to do that, and also with the ball. Keshav Maharaj, he was very important. How he got Shikhar Dhawan was actually that's what makes him such a good cricketer, as a thinking cricketer. The ball before the wickets was like very wide outside off stump, and Shikhar Dhawan missed an opportunity to get very like big runs. It was like a wide half volley, and then the next ball he tried to do it again, but the ball was a lot closer to his body, and also turned into him, and that's how he got bowled. So that's how Keshav Maharaj sort of operated. After that, the wickets just kept tumbling. Virat Kohli, in the weirdest wicket you've ever seen, just played it way too early, and it lulled up to Temba Bavuma, and from there the South Africans were in control. So the manner in which South Africa won. Oh, also the energy in the field. Oh my gosh, that was fantastic. Literally every time a ball was played past the inner circle, the man that was inside would do his best to dive, even if it was far away. They'd dive, they'd give it all they got, and then they'd be covered at the back, which was very good to see. And that's, I think, how South Africa actually won the game. Yes, the wayward bowling towards the end, but I mean, the game had already been won by that point. So, you can sort of allow for experimentation. But yeah, that's just my thoughts on the game. I'll probably add a few things as callers come in, because I could go on for days. South Africa, boy, another W. It feels good. Temba Bavuma century as well. Shout outs. All the haters, chill. Yes, century for the boy.
All right, yeah, I'm obviously very impressed with Bavuma and Van der Dussen. I know Bavuma was striking at below 80, but then as both Werner and Sepo said, context plays a big part here. He had to see through the more difficult phase of play, and Rassi was able to face the death overs, and it's kind of where he thrives, and it's his second ODI century. I mean, look at his average. It's what, 73. He's hit the ground running ever since he's first started playing ODIs for South Africa. So I think when it comes to the batting, I kind of expected more from Aiden Markram. I know that he's been the center of criticism, but he definitely has potential. Even though he doesn't have a whole lot of time at the moment. Um, I guess when it comes to the bowling, especially towards the end, I would have liked to see a more clinical display, get those last two wickets, seal the game. But all in all, it's nice to see this Proteas side win, especially in the absence of a lot of star players in the past, like Noah de Villiers, Faf du Plessis, so on, Hashim Amla, and most of the new guys have taken advantage of their opportunities. I think I know I'm thinking a little bit far ahead now, but if we were to go to the second game, I'd like to maybe see one out of Dwayne Pretorius or Sasanda Magala get a game. I mean, if we have a squad with what, like 19 to 20 players, it wouldn't really make sense if quite a few of these guys end up going gameless, right?
Especially now with no points up for grabs, I would definitely give most of them a run. Bring Magala in for Janssen,
Yeah,
or race Ngidi. It doesn't matter. You really should try to give as much opportunities in this series as you can. And now, obviously, the first series we're playing now again without any points. Now we beat India. I guess that's the way it goes.
One more thing I wanted to add. I think some were saying that withdrawing Rabada from this series, it might have been a bit of a risky move. Sure, this Indian team is pretty strong, not going to lie. But at the same time, workload management is very key because Rabada plays all formats, and especially with the tour of New Zealand coming up soon. And mind you, they're the second best Test side, and I'd be lying if I say that it's not going to be challenging because at home New Zealand can be very, very strong. We saw how they beat India at home. I know they struggled against Bangladesh in the first test, but you can't really underestimate that because we all tend to have bad games, and Rabada's finally firing. I mean, we saw in the second and third tests the way he bowled. So if South Africa are going to create another inroad overseas, he will be a key element to potential success.
Khalid, do you still want me to throw out some stats?
Yeah, you throw out some steps before we get our first goal in.
All right. Okay, so I think this one most people heard, but we had the highest fourth wicket partnership for any SA pair versus India. We also managed to double our score exactly after 30 overs. That old adage of doubling your score after 30 overs. We were 148 at the 30 over mark, and we made 296. Then we made the second highest wicket partnership. Second highest partnership for any wicket for South Africa versus India. The highest was Gibbs and Kirsten. Rassi's average of 73 is now the second highest ever after 30 innings.
Sure.
And then this is also the second 100 partnership in a row for Temba and Rassi. The previous time they batted together was in the pink ODI versus Pakistan, where they made 101 of only 69 balls.
Excellent. So we're going to get our first call in, and it's going to be an India perspective over here because Ashwani is waiting for us. And I need it because Aditya is not going to be able to join us today. So welcome to the show, Ashwani. Great to see you again, brother.
Ashwani.
Your thoughts,
Hello,
brother?
how are you? Yeah, they obviously very disappointed with India's loss. I think India plays outdated ODI cricket with the bat for a very long time, for the past 4 to 5 years. And with the ball, they struggle to control the game on the middle of the overs, I think, which are very crucial aspects of the white ball game. So I think to underestimate South Africa at your own peril, uh, it will be very difficult for India, and I think India is the same, but South Africa had changed. If you saw the comparison between South Africa and India, the last series they played, white ball series in 2018, I think South Africa is very much changed. I am very impressed by Rassi's batting. Uh, uh, how he plays sweep shots and reverse sweeps. And Teba obviously is a quality player, and we expect from him that he will perform in the white ball. But I think India's main issue for from the past 4 to 5 years, I think they don't get middle order batting. Their middle order batting don't get too click after the departing of Yuvraj, MS Dhoni, and Suresh Raina. India don't get quality middle order batting, and India in that aspect they are lagging a bit. India tried too many players, but I think so far they are on the searching phase. I think in this match I would like to play Rituraj Gaikwad with Shikhar Dhawan and put KL at 4 or 5 so that it give Indian middle order bit more strengthen because KL scoring runs at middle order from past 2 to 3 years and he can maneuvering the game well. We saw his centuries in New Zealand and Shreyas Iyer too. Shreyas Iyer obviously has a short ball weakness, and I think if you get exposed on this weakness, and it will certainly went like a fire in the international cricket if somebody knows your weakness. So I think Shreyas has to work on this. Uh, and I would also like to say that India needs to uh, saw which type of players they want to select. If selectors select Venkatesh Iyer, he didn't get a single over today. But I think his main job is an all-rounder. He should get overs so that we see what type of potential he has. And if you select a player as an all-rounder, you should give him the equal opportunity. So that's a very shocking decision by KL Rahul that he didn't give a chance to Mr. Venkatesh Iyer. Hopefully, in the second ODI he give the chances and we see what the potential Venkatesh Iyer had. And also, the one thing I also want to say that if selectors pick a player for the particular position, obviously we saw the stats that this guy has scored too many runs, and it's very easy to pick that guy that he has scored. In 8 matches, he scored 500 runs with that average. But you also see that he scored runs against which type of bowlers. If you score runs against spinners, and you batted at 6 or 7, where you mostly facing the fast bowlers, and you only get around 30 to 40 balls, and you mostly get fast bowlers over. So I think it is very difficult for that particular guy to play that role. So I think selectors have to understand that the player they want to pick is suitable for that role. I think that in that department, our selectors are lacking. Venkatesh Ayers mostly score runs at the top of the order. I don't saw him bat at 6 or 7. He mostly batted at top of the order. So I think India need to sort out that aspect. They need to break that finisher's role, which after MS India don't have.
Shots. Ashwani, I just have a question for you about. You spoke about India's batting. I just quickly want to
Yeah.
ask about their bowling in the middle overs.
Yes,
Chahal
yes,
and
yes.
Ashwin, I expected that on a slower pitch. It didn't turn that much, but that they would have made a lot more inroads into the South African lineup. And I just wanted to see where you would sit from an Indian perspective. Did you think that they underperformed? Did you think that the pitch just didn't assist them? Do you think that maybe uh, there was an error in selection? As you mentioned that Aya didn't even get to ball. So
I think
please tell us about that.
if you look at the wicket was too slow, and ball was coming too slow to the bat, and I think South African batters played really well to them. If you look at Tamba Bavuma and SAvIND Anderson, they played really well to them. If you look at Yuzvendra Chahal, he's that type of bowler who will not bowl too much googlies. If you saw other bowlers like Rashid Khan, Adam Zampa, or other leg spinners which are going around, they are relied on googlies for their wicket taking abilities. But Chahal is your typical old fashioned leg spinners who relied on your smart skills like Giles, beating on the flight. So I think they picked the Chahal really well. I will credit to South African batters. And coming on to Ashwin, I think Ashwin bowled not too bad. I think I will give credit to the South African batters. So and one thing also I want to add to about Shardul Thakur, though Shardul Thakur played really well today. He scored 50 runs, but I think his bowling is the worrying point for me. I think he conceded 72 runs, which I think too much, and India should look out in that aspect. In future, I don't saw Bhuvneshwar Kumar playing too much for India because I think he's not too effective, which we used to saw him in the previous matches. I would like to replace Prasidh Krishna with either Bhuvneshwar or Shardul in the next match.
Okay. I'm about to leave in like a minute or so, but I do have a question for Ashwani before I go. What do you make of KL Rahul's captaincy? I kind of felt that he did a decent job to contain the flow of runs, but his captaincy kind of lacked that spark. If that makes any sense, like he wasn't aggressive enough to go search for wickets to break the partnerships, and Temba and Rassi were able to add 202 runs between them. So I'm just interested to hear what you feel about KL Rahul's captaincy and in what ways he can improve. Thanks,
Yes, I
guys.
think KL's captaincy is little bit defensive today. I think KL lose the plot in the middle overs when South Africa were 68 for 3. I think in that aspect they India should have to tighten their games. But South Africa, you can say that they played brilliantly and take the advantage of India's fielding flaws. They taken the single doubles. You can say that from fielder side. I think in that aspect, KL has to tighten his game. I think he has to shuffle his fielders more. You can say that aggressively. In the middle overs, mostly, I think India started to lose their grip from the hands of South African batters.
I can tell you that Aditya, when I spoke to him about Cal, because I'm a big fan of Cal Rahul as a player.
Yeah.
And obviously, because I'm a big fan of him, you obviously want to see him do everything. But he told me that just not that as a captain. So his opinion was that Cal's maybe not as good as a captain as what you'd hope for an India side. There was passion missing, I feel, in this particular game from an India
Yes.
perspective. There was a lot of us sitting there and talking and asking, where's Virat Kohli, for example? Normally you hear him, you see him, he's going on, but Donut, if you use the South African South African slang words, were going a bit crazy on the field. But it was very quiet. Not a lot of people. There wasn't a lot of chirping like we saw in the test matches. There was a lot of chirping from the Indian players, and they were going crazy. And talking about the devil, and the devil shall appear. So here's he right now. Aditya.
Hey.
Aditya, I was
That
just
is-
talking about KL. There was a question asked about his captaincy, and I actually revealed our WhatsApp conversation. So just you can just have a quick chat about his captaincy, and Ashwani, you can also add to that.
Yeah, first off,
I'm leaving
congratulations.
Ashwani on a little longer today, guys.
Oh,
So,
please.
just
I
because
love it.
Just because I
I
feel
love
like it.
Thank you.
First of all, congratulations to South Africa. They've pulled off a phenomenal victory to come back from 58 for 3 to 295. With some supremely sophisticated batsmanship from Themba Bavuma and Hendrik Rasmus van der Dussen. Absolutely deserve this victory. India, right from the get-go, just seemed jaded. They lacked intensity in the field. And since we're talking about KL Rahul's captaincy, I think that's where you can almost see this pattern in KL Rahul's captaincy, where after seizing an advantage, he's unable to sort of capitalize on it and grab the game by the scruff of its neck. That's been a pattern in his captaincy that we've seen today in the Test match at the Wanderers, as well as his captaincy stint with the Punjab Kings. And unfortunately, I thought the Indians allowed Rassi van der Dussen and Themba Bavuma to build that partnership. It should have been that period where they really sort of attacked them harder, and one more wicket there really would have dented South Africa's chances of building a challenging total. And I think that's where India went wrong. But again, I think we had a sixth bowler in Venkatesh Iyer. He was barely used. Um, so yeah, I don't know. I wasn't particularly impressed with KR Raoul's captaincy. Probably he learned with time, but I'm not sure he was particularly impressive today.
I'm just going to bring on, before you go, Ashwani, I just want to bring on the caller. We have another caller waiting. I'm only hear what he has to say about it as well. Welcome to the stream, Keithan. What do you have to say? I know you heard everything that we say. You've been a loyal supporter for quite some time. So what's your thoughts on this match? What's your thoughts on the captaincy of KL Rahul? What's your thoughts on India? What's your thoughts on South Africa?
Yeah. Am I audible, Khalid? Hello.
Yeah, you are.
We can hear you.
Hello. Am I audible?
Yes,
Hello. Yeah.
we can hear
Thanks
you.
for having me, Khalid. Thanks for having me on.
No problem.
Yeah. Sorry. So I think it was a great win for South Africa, and to start off winning the first match in the series, so that's a great advantage. But I still like to think that I mean, there's a lot of criticism for Aiden Markram being involved in the 11, but I do personally think if not Aiden, you must have somebody who can bowl in the top six. I'm not saying Aiden has to be there, but you have to find somebody who does that, right? But at the moment, because there's nobody else in the team, so Aiden being there is a plus. And I think Werner probably said some time ago that Dwayne should probably be there at six. But I do personally think that Dwayne is a good hitter of the ball, like a pinch hitter, but I don't think he can survive for long. I'm not too sure. I've not seen much of his domestic innings, but I am not too sure if he can survive for 15, 20 overs. But if he can, then probably that's a great thing. And also because this match we've just lost 3 or 4 wickets, we cannot expect that every time we only lose 3 or 4 wickets. So it might so happen that you might end up using people who are at number 7 or number 8, who are Marco Janssen and Andile. Uh, and I'm not too sure if Marco and Andile can give you the firepower at 7 or 8. So I still think number 6, whoever it would be, whether it's Aiden or whoever, who needs to be a strong batsman. I know Aiden is not performing, but when he comes good, a strong number 6 batsman is very important rather than having Dwayne Pretorius there. So that's my thing for South African 11. And regarding KL Rahul, I'm a big fan of KL Rahul too, actually. And they talk about intensity not being there. Intensity does not always mean just showing a lot of actions on the camera like Virat does. There can be intensity and aggression through different means. So it's just that you're comparing now with Virat, who has just left. So the comparison will obviously come because it's the first match that Kelly is doing. So let him sit in. Probably he'll do good as well. And intensity and aggression we should not talk about just for based on one match. And I do think, irrespective of who the captain was, Temba and Rasi really played well. And there's a very good article done by Jared Kimber. He has it in his YouTube channel regarding the importance of a captain and how luck is also a major factor in a captain becoming great and a captain becoming not so good. So I'd recommend all of you to watch it as well. So it would be really, I mean, it's not just captain who wins and loses the games. It's just a small part of it. So yeah,
Cool.
that's my 2 cents.
I hope you're going to Jared Kimber's YouTube channel and also promoting Cricket Fanatics magazine.
Sure.
No, thanks a lot for the call. That's excellent points. We're going to discuss it right now. Thank you a lot, Keith, and we'll see you again soon.
Thank you, Khalid.
Okay,
Loved having
cool.
you
So,
on, man. Great points.
who wants to go first? Ashwani?
Yeah, my last point, I will, after that, I will go. I think today's match, very different, will be India's fifth bowler. You see Shardul's 7 over 1 for 72, and South Africa's fifth and sixth bowler, they got 3 for 56. Actually, it's 0 for 72. The question maybe it isn't that if Thakur is a better bowler than Falkway or Barker. Of course, he is. I think the problem is Indian batters didn't bat well against the weak link of SS bowling attack, which they should have. Uh, India didn't take the advantage of South Africa's weak link.
Okay, I'm
But
gonna.
India
I'm
also
gonna.
didn't use Venkatesh Iyer. They had a sixth bowler
Yes,
at
yes,
their
I
disposal.
talk about this. I talk about this.
Yeah, which I thought was poor captaincy. If
Yeah.
we keep complaining about being restricted to five bowlers, you have a sixth bowler, you've got to use him.
There's a lot to talk about Indian cricket, but yeah.
And
Yeah,
just
there's a lot.
from a South African cricket perspective, when talking about Dwayne Pretorius, I don't think, I personally don't think that we're going to see much more of Marco Jansen in the one-day internationals yet. I think that that's where Dwayne Pretorius is probably going to come in, and South Africa are probably going to have Dwayne Pretorius and Andile Petlokwayo on slower wickets, especially where both of them can sort of offer a little bit of variation. It could be a little bit dangerous having two bowlers that operate in a similar fashion, but at the same time, it could also work very well. We saw that South Africa did do that in Centurion in the first test when they had Vian Mulder and Marco Jansen, the two all-rounders at the same time. And then they basically battled out for that position for the tests going further. So what we're probably seeing is experiments up the order or with the batting order, or especially with the lower order for those all-rounder positions. And South Africa also cultivating all-rounders with Aiden Markram. And he's basically solidified his spot with his bowling because now he has that to offer. And as I forgot his name mentioned, when he comes good, he will come good. But I don't think that this was the type of pitch where Aiden Markram would excel necessarily. He's a boundary merchant, in my opinion. He looks very good for his shots, but he's not very good at rotating the strike and going into that mode of playing. I just haven't seen him perform in that manner. Normally, if he's coming right, he's smashing boundaries like the toys, and this wasn't the pitch to do that. So Aiden Markram's going to have to learn to adapt with his batting. I feel that Aiden Markram has maybe not necessarily a lot to learn, but a lot of fine tuning to do with his batting, especially to make it of an international standard. How much time he has to do that, I don't know, but he's been given a lot of time to do so. But his bowling definitely will help in that vein. So yeah.
One more caller, guys, before we get going, and others need to get the callers on because
Okay,
otherwise
Khalid,
we're going to lose them.
I have to go. Thank you
Okay,
very much
cool.
for taking.
Cheers. It was great
Perfect.
having
Okay,
you,
cool.
Shwani.
First time you are exiting yourself.
Okay.
See you, brother. Okay, so we're gonna get Tashrif on this on the show as well. Welcome to the show, brother. What would you like to say?
Hello, am I audible?
Hello, can audible?
Hello, hello, may I am audible?
Yes, you are audible. You can go.
Okay, fine. As a Protea fan, I am very impressed with that core team Temba had made, like top six, then followed by two all rounders, and Jensen also can bat. That that makes me more happier than today's victory. So old Proteas look like this kind of top orders batting. Then our batting will go until ninth or eighth. That make me more happier today because these top six batters can. Hello.
Yeah, we are. I can hear you
Yeah,
perfectly.
this.
Okay, thanks a lot for the call, in. I got an understanding of what he's trying to say. He's basically he's happy that the batting lineup is actually batting a lot deeper. Um, I mean, you could throw maybe. I don't want to. I don't want to say it actually because I'll probably get into trouble. But with Keshaf and with KG as well. You got a situation over there where they can hit a couple of balls at the back end. So if they are if they are batting at 9 and 10, it could help as well from South Africans' perspective, just to get a little bit extra runs. Tasharif, it's okay. I understand with the internet problems that happens. But yeah, the Dwayne Pretorius situation and Andile Pichlekwai situation, I thought that Dwayne Pretorius was the first all rounder. So when we look at him, I thought he was number one on the list. I never thought that Andile would play ahead of him in this particular match, particularly because of Paul Rock's the connection there. He's played there before, won a final. Dwayne Pretorius. I really thought that Dwayne would, because of the batting as well. I thought Dwayne will probably see the team sheet before Andile Beklekwaya. I mean, Andile has a lot of work to do with the bat. I think Andile still has a lot to do in general. He bowled okay today. I was okay with his bowling performance today. He does show a lot of variations, etc. He does bowl that slower delivery. Well, majority of his balls are slower deliveries ultimately, anyway. But he does bowl that slower delivery closer to the stumps on the crease very well. but let's discuss this a little bit further, because one person that I did think was hard done by in this particular match was maybe Kyle Verreynne, especially after his performance on his debut, I think it was, against Australia at Boland Park. So let's go around. Werner, what's your thoughts? And Aditya, what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I said in the preview that I wanted Verreynne to play, but that I suspected that they'll probably put Markram in ahead of him just for that sixth bowling option. So I think he's definitely unlucky. I think he deserves to be in this team. But it is difficult if we have no one in the top six who can bowl, because at this moment it doesn't seem like they want to have a situation where Andile needs to bowl 10 overs. He only came in like the 32nd over today or somewhere around there. So it doesn't seem like Temba is trusting him with 10 overs necessarily. And the way Temba talked in the post-match, it seems like they want to play Aiden to give them some option as that spin option. So he definitely is unlucky. And I could also understand Kirthan's point about not having a proper batsman at six as well. Now, I would love that. I said maybe Pretorius, and maybe six might be a position too high for Pretorius. But I also feel that if Markram plays, it messes up the order a bit. So maybe if they want to play Markram as a guy who can bowl you some overs, maybe they should just play him at six then, but not mess around with the other batsmen who have done well in the positions they were at. I know six is probably way too low for somebody of the ability that Markram has, but I guess I'm a bit confused about the role right now. I understand they want some overs from him, but if he wants to bat at 4, then he needs to score us some runs. It doesn't sit right with me that we have a guy at number 4 who's averaging 28, who's scoring once in every 7-8 games, but it's all right because he can bowl us 5 or 6 overs. It just doesn't quite feel right.
It doesn't feel right to me either. Aditya, I mean, we discussed a lot. I don't see in ODI cricket Aiden batting anywhere else but opening, personally. And currently, the best 2 openers in the country are Yanaman and Quinton, if you're looking at form. So I don't see Aiden making this team ultimately, because I don't see him as a number 4 batter. But maybe I'm wrong about that. I don't know. I'm a massive fan of Aiden, of course. Everybody knows that. But I'm just not sure. I think he needs to find, I don't know, because when he goes back to domestic cricket, he smashes runs, but he smashes runs as an opener for the Titans, So like it's a whole different situation. You also have a lot more time to get yourself in as an opener. Also, you have the power play to work with. So the gaps are a lot more open for him, especially for him personally, where he likes to score his runs. So I think that switching him around so much has messed him up as a player in the international arena, especially. I don't think they should be messing around too much with him. I like that 4-5 position maybe for him in T20 cricket. I fully understand them playing him there in T20 where he can just be free. But I think Aiden, I think there is a mental issue maybe, rather than only a technical issue. I think there is something maybe You suggested, Aditya, maybe in talking to someone like Barry Upton, for example, that Faf, we obviously heard his interview with Barry Upton and what he said in there, and when he was struggling, he went to speak. That might do a world of good for someone like Aiden.
I think Aiden's biggest challenge right now is the fact that he isn't in limited overs cricket. He isn't able to pace his innings as per the requirement of the game. If you saw what Temba did today and what Rassi did today, that was a masterclass in how to pace your innings. Because on the one hand, Temba was rebuilding the innings, and or at the other end, Rassi van der Dussen was taking complete advantage of all the loose deliveries that were coming his way. And they made it look like both were batting on different surfaces, because we know Boland Park to be quite quite a slow sort of surface where stroke making is difficult, and we could see that certainly in the beginning, because for the first 20 overs of the game, South Africa was scoring at 3.5, 4 runs and over, and then suddenly you see Rasik coming in and smacking Shardul Thakur miles out of the stadium. So on the one hand, Temba was doing his job perfectly, and at the other end, Rassi was doing his job perfectly. So what they really did well was that they they understood the pace of the game, and I think that's where Aiden is struggling. Whether it's as an opener in ODI cricket or whether it's at number 4. I thought he was, that call was terrible. To take that run, and there was no real need, because it was quite early in the inning. So it was unfortunate that Aiden was run out. But that to me is where the challenge is. It's the balance. And again, I'm going to reiterate. I think Aiden is a special talent. India persisted with Rohit Sharma for 6 years before he was made an opener. So sometimes it takes time. These things take time, and you just got to persist with these guys. They will come good. In addition to Paddy Upton, I also hope Aiden can talk to Rohit Sharma, because their games are so similar, and they are these precocious talents in cricket that we need to see more of them. We need to see them perform.
Right, Werner, I want to ask you a question, because, or just pose a statement or an idea, because I've always said that in white ball cricket, Rassi van der Dussen is a type of player that I feel is very adaptable. Like I've always seen him as that in domestic cricket, because I used to watch a lot of his domestic games when he played against against local teams, of course, like the local teams, of course, and also when I had an opportunity to watch him play at the Wanderers as well, he's always seemed like an adaptable player in domestic cricket. But for South Africa, he kind of came into a situation where he was needed to kind of be an anchor, you would say, because we were in situations where we were finding ourselves a lot wickets down, coming in and having to save innings. I think he's at his best when he has an anchor on the other end, actually. I mean, looked when he knew that Temba was settling himself in on the one end, he came in and he looked amazing, fresh. He looked like a different, like a player that some maybe might not have seen before, and a player like I've recognized and I've been waiting to see in Proteas colors. So he looks like he's starting to find his game. Particularly, I liked the way he played against spin, how positive he was against the spin, because he looked a bit iffy maybe in Pakistan, but yeah, he looked top notch against the spin. And this particular pitch was more favorable to India than it was to South Africa, I feel. The ball was keeping low. There was some turn. You could see how comfortable Shikhar, like when Shikhar Dhawan was batting and Kohli, I was like, this is not enough runs. I was like, we might have misread the situation here, because when Rassi finished his innings, he spoke to Pommy. He told Pommy, this is about 70. We are at 70 runs ahead, or we have 70 runs above par. But this is cricket, he said. Anything can happen in cricket. So the people thought that 220, 230 would have been a subpar score on this particular, or a par score on this ground. And India almost, India got close. I feel that if Virat Kohli and Shikhar Dhawan kept their wickets, it would have we've been talking about a different game right now today, a completely different situation.
Yeah, but that's how it goes. If two batsmen bat throughout the innings, that generally that team is going to win. And like Rasi and Temba did today, that definitely put us in a good position. And yes, I agree. I love the partnership Rasi and Temba has got going on, which is one of the reasons I wouldn't want to split them up in the order either. Maybe just swap. Maybe just swap Rasi and Markram. Have Markram come in at 4, Rasi come in at 4 and Markram at 5, and then you can keep that Timba and Rasi thing going, because they do form a very, very good partnership, and they understand each other's game, just like Timba and Quinton does as well. So it's probably quite a good, a pretty solid top 4, to be honest. So and Miller has had a great last couple of years in ODI cricket as well. So I think it's a pretty top, a solid top order. And yeah, Rasi just looks a different person the moment he has positive intent. And I've said this about him in Test cricket as well. The moment he comes in and he looks to be positive, and he doesn't just get bogged down, he just looks so much better, and he gets his feet moving against the spinners. He sweeps very well, and that is a crucial part of his game, and a crucial part of playing spin well, especially on decks that are slow and that are turning a bit. If you can hit the spinners off a good length by sweeping them, it puts them on the back foot immediately, because you'll see he sweeps one and then like, okay, no, I have to go a bit shorter. Then he rocks back, he cuts it. Those sort of things. If you don't have the sweep, spinners can just start to hit, land in an area consistently, and they don't really have to worry about it, and they can control the pace. But the moment you start sweeping the ball, it really puts pressure back on the bowler. So I think from the moment he reverse swept that ball in that first over he came in, the Indian bowlers knew that he meant business, and you could see he was there to put the pressure on them. So yeah, I just enjoyed his and Temba's innings a lot. Temba used to sweep very well as well. So I think both of them, they handled the spinners in particular was very important and impressive, because we know how it went the last time we faced Chow and Kuldeep Yadav. It wasn't a very easy series to watch as a South African. So this is a nice change.
Mm-hmm. Let's get your final thoughts, Aditya.
Well, very disappointing to see India play the way that they did today, and just the fact they looked rusty. When 9 of your 11 players, or I think 8 of 11 players have not played ODI cricket for 10 or 11 months, I think that shows, and it did today. The intensity was completely off right from the first over or so. And I think I talked about the intensity of the game generally in a tweet to Werner. So South Africa completely deserve it. This was outplayed in all departments, and it was fantastic. I'm delighted for South Africa. And on the other hand, I hope that India reflects hard on this game and comes back better. I do expect them to come back harder, and I hope that they're able to shake off that rustiness a little bit. But yeah, and just another side point from an administration point of view. ODI cricket is in a little bit of trouble because of the amount of Test cricket and T20 cricket that teams play. And I think that there needs to be more of an effort to make it a bit of a spectacle. So sometimes I think, given that crowds are not allowed for this series, it would be good to have like some sort of a PA system with music playing between overs, or some sort of a white noise going on out there, because it just felt like after such an intense and competitive Test series, it just felt like the intensity was a lot lower in this game. But in saying that, taking nothing away from South Africa, they were brilliant today, and they absolutely deserve to win.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree with that. I just want to add one more point. How good was that stumping by Quinton de Kock today? I mean, standing up to Peglo, he's unsighted, take that ball so quickly and get the bails off before Punt could get back. I enjoyed that very
Got to
much.
mention that.
And it was just so good to see him with a smile on his face, enjoying himself out there, like more like the Quinny we're used to, not the Quinny that was a bit grumpy and not really looking in it. So it was, maybe this being a dad, maybe that's just triggered the next phase of what we're going to see of Quinny. So I'm hoping for that. It was good to see all the guys giving him some love after that stumping, and I could see this. It's really a team coming together and gelling well, and I think that bodes well for us going forward. Not just playing well, but being a good team and having a good team environment counts so much.
So much. Now is this the Quinny that we used to know? You see now that's what it is right now. So that I'm loving it. I think that Quinn in the cock did look a lot happier. He looked a lot sharper. Maybe he must just cut his hair. I think. For me personally, it's like it's flat. So a bit wild, going a bit wild there. But guys, thanks a lot for tuning in. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Don't forget to smash the like button, comment, share, subscribe, and click that notification bell for future videos. As well as subscribe to Cricket Fanatics Magazine monthly. Every single issue is 100% free, straight into your inbox every single month. You can go ahead, and the link is in the description. We are working on publishing the next issue tomorrow. It's all about under 19 cricket week and what we can learn about our system and how it fits into the system in South Africa, etc. We'll be hearing from a couple of people that were involved with having a very busy schedule for the under 19s and underage groups, I would call it, because there was under 17s as well, under 17 weeks, etc. And the women, girls cricketers as well, they played as well. So we'll be hearing a little bit about that. Guys, thanks a lot for tuning in. I think that India will come back. I think this is probably the perfect warm-up, you could say, for them, playing in Paul, playing in these conditions, in that heat. I mean, it's going to be even hotter in Paul on Friday, 39 degrees, of course, closer to 40. It's going to be teasing with the low 40s this weekend, and yeah, I hope you're going to see an interesting clash. Let's see how the wicket's going to play. I think it's going to be a lot more difficult for South Africa in the second match than it was in this opening match, particularly with the ball, especially, as well as with the. I think both disciplines. It's not going to be an easy game, or maybe it will be. Depends. We'll have to wait and see. But me personally, all I know is that what I think is that these Indian players are too talented to not get better and not improve. So I'm gonna predict that it's probably going to be a very, very close game on Friday. Yeah. So anyway, guys, we'll be back again tomorrow with another daily show. Will be Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Let's preview. We're probably going to preview the game for Friday, of course. So come in and have a chat with us, and we'll have a discussion about who should start, who should not, etc. And you guys can have your say in the live chat as well. Thanks a lot for watching. We'll see you guys again tomorrow with a preview show. Take care, everyone, and enjoy the rest of your evening.